So I've been following this story about just up until a few days ago. I didn't know anything about this person. Um, her name's Naomi Osaka, a female tennis player who had made headlines over the last few days after she withdrew from the French Open, which is a one of the major tennis tournaments. She withdrew after her opening win, uh, or opening round win. Um, Reason being, she said she wanted to take some time off to address her mental health. Um, Now Osaka, I mean, well, this came at a surprise to a lot of people, and I think I would find the story interesting. For once I saw that somebody that highly ranked um, in the world withdrawing from a major tournament, but she wanted to address her mental health, so I thought I found that interesting. And I kind of wanted to see what the scope behind that was. She had tweeted, I think last week. She had said that she was not comfortable addressing the media, and this was one particular tournament that she had been struggling with in the past. She's pretty young. I believe she's 23, and she had struggled in this particular tournament over the last course of the last few years. And so I think she had said that she had named that she had some anxiety, being in this tournament, and uh, she wanted, to avoid speaking to the media, because that would just um, give her more anxiety. I think she had mentioned she's got social anxiety. So she skipped her media session after she won her opening round, and she got a $15,000 fine. Understandably so. There's been countless times where athletes have forgone or chosen not to speak to the media, which is comes hand in hand with being a star athlete, and they've gotten fined. But I think, and this is, yeah, it's difficult because, you know, as an athlete, like I understand, I also, I studied in journalism too. So I can definitely understand the aspect of, being a public figure. Part of that is to, address, media, and that, through sponsorship and other, for other reasons. And again, I understand those things come hand in hand. And again, she reasonably got fined for missing part of her, not, her obligation, which is to speak to the media. Um, but I think it was truly mishandled, and I think it was, after that, the fact how the French Open, along with the three other major tournaments in tennis, they released a statement which said that if she continues to miss these sessions, that she can be there can be further consequences, and uh, she can up to possible suspension. I think that was I believe on Sunday, sometime Sunday afternoon. And then she surprised everyone on Monday when she stepped out and she withdrew from the tournament. And now here we are, around this. It's a no-win situation for nobody, for the sport. Obviously, I think it's a tremendous loss, losing the number two ranked player in the world. But one, I truly want to applaud Naomi Osaka for the courage for speaking up and taking a stance of, I'm just not going to be bullied into submission, and my mental health and my self-care, that's like the number one, my number one priority. And if I need to take some time off, then so be it. She released a statement, apologizing um, well, being a distraction. She said she didn't want to be a distraction, but here she said, I'm not a natural public speaker and get huge waves of anxiety before I speak to the world's media. She said, I get really nervous and find it stressful to always try and engage and give the media the best answers I can. Um, the truth is that I have suffered long bouts of depression since the US Open in 2018, and I've had a really hard time coping with that. Yeah, she's 23 years old. I think it took tremendous courage to one, just to be open and vulnerable, talk about one's mental condition. It's not easy. I just got diagnosed with ADHD at 33 years old last summer, 9 months ago, 10 months ago, and as far as social anxiety and public speaking, I it's uncomfortable for me to make a video. I've come a long way, like making a video, like recording myself doing this. I've had tremendous bouts of anxiety, and not only public speaking, but just in social settings. I remember in college, or in school, when I have to reenact something, Shakespeare play. I remember I used to be a big fan of Macbeth. I had like a panic attack almost. I don't remember exactly reciting it. I don't even remember if I did, but I just remember kind of practicing it. But and I didn't know anything about anything then, or what I was feeling. Speech 102 or 101, I think, same thing. First year in college, having to not perform, but in front of the class. We had to do like a project, and having to present that in front of the class, was it was terrible. And again, it wasn't even about the assignment anymore. It was something more that I can't explain. I don't have any recollection of doing it. I think I just completely blacked out, phased out. But those are things that that I personally had to learn to navigate. And for her to be able to do that in a world setting in front of everyone, and to be able to speak up and withdraw from it, to take care of herself, I commend that. And I think the sport in general took an aggressive stance, and it was, it's an ugly situation. I think mental health in itself is just a very difficult conversation to talk about. We just got finished up with Mental Health Awareness Month in May, but it's something that's being more of a dialogue in this day, which I think is a great thing. I saw an article of Bubba Watson, who is a male golfer in professional golf. He's had a pretty successful career. He kind of just spoke up. I'm trying to pull up this article. Excuse me. um, spoke up uh, regarding mental health. He in this ESPN article that just came out today, he talked about his own situation, um, and his social anxiety. Watson is 42, and like I said, he's had a pretty successful golfing career up to this point. Um, and I didn't know up until I read this article that he's had any mental conditions of himself, but he talked about his own social anxieties, and he was totally in support of Osaka's decision to withdraw. Um, but he says here, I'm sitting here in a room right now with cameras looking at me. I don't like enclosed places. I don't like elevators. I don't like heights. There's a lot of things that trigger my mental issues, so I understand what she's saying, but it's part of the job. You've got to do interviews. People are sponsoring an event. People are paying prize money because they're sponsoring, so that's part of the job. So again, there's both sides to it. So I completely understand that. So, but I really, for her to be able to step up and just um, to address her mental condition, I think is very admirable. And for her to be vulnerable and be able to speak up against it, I think that's someone who not only is inspirable by what she does on the court. So God bless her. But as far as again, Watson, a 12-time winner of the PGA Tour, I said that he has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. What I was just diagnosed with, what I just found out I had at 33 years old last summer. So he has ADHD, and the problems got worse 2 years ago when he lost a lot of weight, couldn't sleep, and feared for his life. The last of his victories came in 2018. I dropped down, let's see here. Last time I weighed myself was 162 when I was dealing with it. I'm talking about ADHD. And it's going to come back at some point. He said, this is not something that goes away. There's not a miracle drug that it goes away. I'm still going to have issues. I have anxieties. I have doubts. I have pride issues. I have ego issues. I've got them all. I've got every issue you can think of, and I'm still with it. And hopefully I get better with it, and hopefully she gets better with it too. So like I said, briefly, again, it is a difficult and hot topic issue to talk about, difficult condition, and just in general, like mental health, it's not easy to talk about. But now um, I hope to see more people being more open with their experiences and their struggles and their own form of ways that they need to address their own self care. Allie Raceman, who was a Olympic gymnast for the U.S. She's been an advocate over the last course of the year or so about mental health and things that she's struggled with, and now that she's trying to be an advocate for those having the same issues. Michael Phelps, probably the most decorated, not only U.S. Olympian, but Olympian ever in the world ever. He's had tremendous bouts of mental health. He's also someone who has ADHD. I haven't seen the documentary yet, but he's got an HBO documentary. I believe it's called Weight of Gold. I do plan on watching it, but he's been much more open over the last few years about his mental health. And when he was at the top of the pinnacle, he had tremendous bouts of depression. He felt like he was only being treated as a tool, as a swimmer. He talked about like a breakdown that he had, I believe, in 2018. He had two pretty big breakdowns, one in 2016 and one in 2018. He's contemplated suicide. And then he's also talked about kind of the challenges that he's had over in 2020, with the pandemic. So these are things that have been more open to discussion, which I think is great. So Naomi Osaka, I truly commend your vulnerability and courage.